It is 6:47, so we'll go ahead and get started. The first item on the work session agenda tonight is the 26-27 fiscal year budget. And the first item that I wanted to discuss on that was the forensic audit. You all should have a small packet, just a little one, got a couple pages. Just stay on the top left. Yep. If you flip all the way to the back, you all got a copy of the version 6 of the budget on Friday. Since then, these are, go one more page, there you go. Since then, these are the updates that we are proposing. And the move to increase the business license revenue was due to year-to-date information that we are still collecting for business licenses, so that needed to be moved. That's a good change.
So the mini excavator. So the mini excavator went from 60 to 70.
It's about 70, if I'm not correct. Yep, 70.
The old case backhoe that you have sitting out there in the rust bucket, do you have an idea how much you sell it for? I got a gentleman interested, so.
Well, in the state that it's in, maybe 5,000 to 10,000. If that 10,000 is a real big number, because it's not all right now, and it can take a lot to get it off. Right.
Don't we have 20,000 in capital equipment for sale as revenue? We have 20,000 in revenue for sale of capital equipment. Is that the backup?
That would be part of it, correct?
Part of all.
It could, right.
Well, I mean, it's listed in there, so I mean, somebody had to think of what that 20,000 is for.
Correct. So when we met with department heads to come up with their department head report for budget, we asked each of the department heads what they thought of their budget. And for Adam's department, as the public works director, he mentioned that he could likely sell between 20,000 and 30,000 of current equipment that we are not using. So that would come from that. Correct. He estimated between 20,000 and 30,000, so we went low ball on it. If we could sell 30, even better.
So there's several pieces that we can get rid of. Have a couple trucks, the old backhoe, and the skid steer. We don't need skid steer, we don't use.
Does the skid steer operate?
It does. It is some hydraulic work, but it will crank up and run, and it'll move.
So you got to make it model on that?
It's a new Holland. I can't remember the model.
You're going to make it 20,000, right?
And you said it needed a hydraulic line?
It needs hydraulic work.
And what's the sticker on it?
I don't know the sticker on it. I said maybe 40.
And you don't know the year of it?
No.
Right, but is there a specific cost to that? Like, is it related to maybe the farmer's market or something specific?
It was overall, I believe.
That's great. That's great.
It's a good issue to have to adjust. And we were actually talking in the office today, this is something that next year we will probably not drop that line item into the budget until around May 1st, just because it takes, I mean, they're not due until the 30th of April, so it takes a long time for all of them to come in, and we couldn't actually see the actuals until this week. Any other questions on the budget changes so far?
So you have a wide variety of, or a wide span of the audit at 20 to 50,000. Is that?
It's an estimate, but we don't know what
That's
it's
a
going to
huge
cost right
estimate,
now. It
20
is.
to 30, that's a big number.
It's actually 20 to 50.
50, what did I say, 30, 20 to 50, that's
Right.
a big span. And is the, if we vote on this budget, we're voting on the spend of that money for a forensic audit.
That is correct. Both of those items, the mini excavator and the audit, would both come from our fund balance, which is very helpful right now.
It is, but we already have a reduction in fund balance in the current purchase budget by 50,000.
Correct.
So now we're going to lose 170,000.
That is for this year. Next year, our middle will come back up, and we'll start to recoup.
For the following year, yeah, but this year. But then, if you go and look at the money you were planning to invest, we plan to invest $2 million,
Correct.
which is a huge amount of our fund balance.
Invested. It's not what it's
Invested.
on.
So, but we have never talked about $2 million, and then all of a sudden $2 million shows up. We have always talked, when we talk with investment money with the accountants in this room, or in the budget retreat, we use the number 1.5, so that's $500,000 worth of difference. My point is we need to have better conversations about these things before we put it on a piece of paper and get surprised. Because when I saw $2 million, it wasn't a surprise.
I think that was in the last version of the budget, wasn't it?
It was in a version of it.
Okay. But you guys were
But
going
you
to
didn't.
pass along the way every single time we got it.
There's a lot of things in this budget. I mean, there's a lot of line items.
There is.
You really got to get into the
Yeah.
details of it.
There is.
But I'm a little concerned that we're going to vote to do the forensic audit by way of a budget vote.
How
We're not going to talk about how are we going to do a forensic audit, or should we be doing something more pointed?
I mean,
If you shake your head, I'm just
Right.
saying that. That's my
Right, I'm
idea.
just saying that. Right, I'm just saying that I know when I was running for office and other people in this room were running for office, we were talking about the differences between a forensic audit and what is a UAP, or target AAP. My personal feeling, and you're all welcome to jump in and say otherwise, I think it should be a more broad forensic audit. I don't think we should target various years or people or departments. I think it should be very broad.
So sure we have the resources to handle a broad forensic audit from the support side inside that office. So, and I think that after I've had conversations with the accounting people, and they recommended doing it. They did not recommend you putting in a forensic audit. Their recommendation was pick something that's more pointed. That you think, you obviously, if somebody thinks there's a problem. So if they think there's a problem, pick that one problem and let's go drill into that.
So then when you pick one problem and then you end up with two cities, you spend a whole bunch of money for one problem that you thought was a problem.
Not very much at all.
What do we have in front of us, or that we somewhere? Is there something, some act somewhere?
There's just
Documentation?
Right. It's been a long time, and we've definitely seen it as we started going through this budget, is that we've seen things that were, were put into the wrong account, or numbers that needed to be, were incorrect and needed to be located into a different account. There's just kind of it feels like a mismatch over the years. And that's why I don't want to do a target one, because I feel like we would still miss things.
So how far back are we talking?
I'd like to go back 4 or 8 years. We have the documentation.
Well, we know what some documentation was with a financial person,
Right.
not knowing where to put
Right.
money or where to take it from. We know that was one of them, and you know. So I just wonder how far is this going to go back, and is there anything else? I mean, we know what it is that we're going to vote for, and we're for this money. And, we all have an opinion about it, and we haven't voted on it as to what we think. If we think it's going to do any good. I mean, what is the end game with this?
To make sure that we're kind of starting on just a clean slate, that we can say from this moment on, we know everything lines up, everything looks good, and we can go forward into the next 3.5 years or however long we're all talking.
And what I understand is whatever.
No, we can't fix it, we can identify it. Why we say this
What
was
I
wrong.
understand, Mary, you might be able to help me with that, when they do the audit, and they do find something, that they put money back toward what you spent for the audit, it goes back into the fund, is what I.
Based on what they find.
Based on what they find.
Yeah.
SLED is usually involved in a forensic audit.
Have they already been notified? I don't know. I know there's people accountants who specialize in forensic audits. So, what am I trying to say? Would it be worse? Should we go back farther if we see that there definitely is a need for it? I think we should go back even farther.
Right, I would be.
I mean, if we're going to spend that kind of money.
Right, that way you get a clear picture of what you're doing.
But I would like to see what we know today about the infractions, the triggers, the facts, the documentation. I would really like to see that before we voted for that.
That's fair. Some of it, you kind of alluded to it. There were some things that happened with the past administrator that we would definitely like to get a full picture of what happened.
Right.
And that was
And
some
I
years
saw
ago.
some things, I mean, I saw it. He had it, and he shared it with everybody, and we all were aware of it. And we were getting ready to do something about it before he exited. So, but
I think it would be a good idea to get a full picture of what happened around him and then go back even further
yes.
so that we can come to a spot where we say everything is clean, everything lines up, we can go from here.
And
Hold on. It's clean. I don't understand that. At the end of the day, when we came into office, there's a set of books sitting there. We took responsibility for that and kept it on clean. What are you going to get? I don't understand what you get. Clean doesn't agree. It's not money to people. It's not anything that's going to be helpful right now. If we have people that were doing things that were wrong, then somebody screwed up and get those people aren't here.
But there could even be criminal proceedings against some of those people.
If something is
That's
wrong,
how
then
it's
But again,
it's
go back far enough, we might be able to find somebody from 18, whatever. I mean, that's not the idea. And do you really have the records? I've seen some of our records. Our records are interesting, to say the least. And I'm just wondering, is it the right thing? Are we doing the right thing for citizens? $50,000 to go back and find this money, not knowing what the answer is or what How far do you want to go back to the windows? How much are you trying to recoup with the windows? How much is done with the windows? But
that's why.
you want to go spend $30,000 for possibly nothing.
We put $40,000 of fireworks up every year into the sky for one night.
That's right.
So
And
I
it
think
rated for
50
$70,000.
I think 50,000 was a well worth thing to do to find out where we were at 4 years, at 8 years, whatever it may be.
It's called Peace Line, is what it's called.
It doesn't make us better.
We can learn from it.
It gives you a fresh level stand on when you start.
No, we're there. We're started already. For 6 months in.
But we don't know all the procedures and policies that they had in place at that time that put them in the place they were at, where they wasted money or squandered money or whatever it may be. There may be something to be learned from that.
It's awesome. We have a healthy fund balance. We're moving forward. That's not moving forward. That's shoving it in reverse and going back and go see what we can find, what kind of potholes. I just don't know that that's a good way to spend $50,000.
I feel like cleaning up the garbage is a way to get a fresh start.
I think that you can.
How much garbage do you have?
I mean, I don't know.
We don't know. We're not auditors. I mean,
You have to have some idea you're looking for.
right, and that goes back to
What is that?
that was one of the instances where we had
I don't have that documentation.
But it was online.
So what is
It was on Facebook that a past administrator was using credit cards for his own personal spending. So, I mean, that's been all over social media since I think
And purchase
2023.
alcohol on the city radar.
Right.
I mean, this is garbage that doesn't need to be.
And that was only seen because other people
Did the
shined a light on it. So we are wondering what else is in there.
So it's after, again, I go back to focus on one thing. Somebody asked me this question because everybody seems to think they do. If you focus it, you found a problem. Will SLED then continue on wires?
They will.
They will.
So that focus is not $50,000. And you seem to know that there's a specific issue with the problem. So if you focused on that one thing for a lot less money than $50,000, then SLED can take the reins and if they really do this, then SLED can take the reins and the cost to continue on for the rest of the municipality. I just think that to go and take this wide swipe at $50,000, we could go on a narrow path that we think we know, and if there's really criminal activity, then we should be able to focus on that, give that to SLED and ask them for their support.
We
At
don't.
least that's my point.
We don't know how much that may be towards the end when they're done
Don't
their
know which.
investigation. That's the problem. That's why it's a range. They're
Don't know
saying
which.
we'll set aside 20 to 50 in the event that additional funds are needed to continue their investigation.
And the SLED's not going to come in unless there is a possibility of criminal activity. So unless the auditor finds that, then SLED's out of the picture. But we've already spent all that money with nothing to show for it, actually. But evidently, somebody knows something. And I think we all need to know.
So to move forward on allocating money for a forensic audit, I'm hearing at least a few of you want some more specifics on what that would be and an approximate dollar amount, more targeted than 20 to 50.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not ready to go for the budget with that much money out yet, you know. We don't have that things are hard to do, and if it's going to be up to anybody.
Are we good with the mini excavator for $70,000? That is an absolute need for our public works department. It's in capital overlay as a tab on that spreadsheet, and it says 0 because it was always intended to be in the work session agenda, to be
That's the
approved.
only item on that work session, or on that overlay, that was going to be a work
That
session.
was 0. That's why it
That's
was
the only
0.
one.
That's okay.
All the rest of them, all
The rest are not. That's why it was 0.
All right.
Any questions about excavating? Good on that?
Where is isn't there out of the administration where's the transfer from the general fund, the additional expense of general fund?
The 61,000? That was over?
Was it 61 or 50?
I believe it was towards the bottom.
So we're going at debt service 57,945.
I believe so.
Is that, was it called that before? Was it called transfer from fund balance?
The transfer from the fund balance is a note off to the right. That's what they're on the reasoning.
Okay, and it's not in here, so on this one. That we sent out.
Yeah, that was on the copy for you guys.
Yeah, okay.
That was this one.
No, that is the substitute. He's referencing the actual budget.
I got you.
On the actual unit, there was a 57,945 from fund balance. And now on this one, it says debt service. So on the one that went to the public, on this, it says debt service. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, and then off to the side where it said where the little notes were, it said transfer to.
Transfer from the fund balance.
We tried to add in some little notes to explain what things were doing.
57.9. So
The only difference that we made on the one that went to the public is we removed 26 and actuals. Because this is supposed to be just a 26, 27 budget. It's not meant to be retroactive. It's just to show them what we're removing for right now. That was the only thing we removed. We removed those columns, took screenshots, posted them.
no, that's right. Did we get an answer? I don't know if you responded back to me today, but did we get another answer on the property tax issues?
Yes, sir. The mayor and I called recently, and they basically said that it was a coding error, but they fixed it. And I just checked, they sent me the updated version, and I'll send that to you guys.
So then revenue's not in the one that we're calling, right? So we do not put revenue out there. So, but we do have an issue with the revenue figure on the top line, first line.
Which one? The P&L one?
On the
That was
PFO.
the one that you're talking about in February? That was the one they fixed today.
So that is where their problem is.
That is correct.
That's right, but it continues on because we have a revenue budgeting value higher than, I can't remember the number, I don't have the computer in here. Somebody have the revenue number for property taxes? Somebody
For which fund? That same one?
Yeah.
The property tax?
Because they said we had 800,000.
Right,
Fix that.
that was the P&L one. Yeah, we fixed that.
They fixed that.
That was
First of all, that's a huge coding issue.
Right.
I mean, that's not even half, that's
Oh,
big.
believe
So
me.
it's-
It was
So, you know, if you find out, say they have,
hang on. Which fund are you looking for? Just overall revenue?
public works, or public, property. So we have $400,000 budgeted. Right now, we have already taken in $555,000 this year.
Right, and when they sent that email yesterday, they said they always like to lowball for those totals. So 400 is already increased year over year to account for infill, new businesses, those kind of things. But to go up to 500, that gets us really close to what we took in this year. And you have to remember, this year, the 500 and the 522 or 555 that we're at right now, that included the extra 61,000. So 400 would get us, it's still low, but a little bit closer to where we should be. And it keeps us under budget versus over budgeting for something that may not come in.
So I've got 5 pages of notes in the one. I mean, we have cheerleading and spring baseball that have no revenue budget. Coach, does that sound right? We get no revenue whatsoever from cheerleading or baseball in the spring?
Because each department has sat with us and created this.
Yeah, my goal is to try to combine the athletic portion of it, like spring baseball, and fall baseball together. We're going to have one account line, and then we can put the revenue that goes. We got revenue coming in. That's our problem for revenue-wise. Just that the way I see it, it should be combined. We just open up one pot. Rather than have spring baseball, fall baseball, spring cheerleading, fall cheerleading. You know, it just don't make sense to me. And so we got to talk about putting it in the account. There's one line item baseball, one line item softball, and stuff like that.
There's only one line item for cheerleading.
Yeah, cheer.
It has no revenue whatsoever.
That's false. Cheer's one I think is one that maybe be honest with you. How much you charging?
Cheerleading has one item. It's on 3,000. Cheerleading, yeah, fund 5530 has $3,000.
In revenue?
Oh, are you talking about revenue or talking about budget?
Revenue.
That's currently, like I said, it's just cheers. Is
It is.
I'm put like that.
So we need to identify how much that moneymaker is worth and put it on the revenue line, because that's what belongs to it. Right? Because if you don't put revenue in the cheerleading, and you look at the cheerleading costs, which are not extremely high, and then you add up, let's see, volleyball is the only other female sport. Softball that didn't have anything.
Softball is another thing that's good too.
But it didn't look like we played softball. We played softball.
This past year we had maybe two teams.
Yeah.
So it's an off person. And so I tried to figure a long time ago, I tried to figure out what would be the cost of uniforms and books, stuff like that, and try to that and the hat that goes with it. The rest part should be revenue. But I think the biggest issue that we're having is that I'm pulling the official payment out of that line for that particular sport.
I saw that.
Which we should not be doing. We should budget. When me and Kay talked about this, we changed. We need a budget for officials on a different separate line. That I looked at from other rec departments. So we talked about that and we're trying to figure out that cost is going to be extremely high because you cannot get an official for $40 less. To be honest with you, nobody's going to come and officiate unless it's $40. And that's per game, not for that particular time. So we're looking at $120 a night per event. The 3 games like tonight. Got 3 games, 2 officials, we paying $200 like that. So that's one thing we need to work on. Is we changing that, try to add that into that line item as well. Kind of separate. But revenue-wise, we should make some money, from that. I think that's what I talked to Katie about, because that's what confuses me about that just the athletic portion of the budget is that I should be able to see the revenue coming in and the revenue going out and be able to start having an actual set budget, because if I got 300 kids who sign up for one sport, and then next year, following year, how can you budget that unless you don't know how many kids you're going to have sign up? And so I think it should kind of sustain itself. And this is my thought process is that if it's flexible to where I don't have a set rate, you're not going to know exactly what you got going on. Now, when we get sponsorships, if somebody that want to donate $600 to baseball, they're doing that line item in baseball rather than putting it into a donation sponsorship section of it. This is a lot of stuff that Katie, I'm glad that Katie, because we have been talking. It's a lot of stuff that our previous administration just not tell me to try to get this to figure it out. When I question a lot of stuff, this kind of got pushed aside. And so now I'm trying to figure out and straighten it out. But I got it set. I think I got it set to where we can actually generate money and not have set aside of the reason. And they should be able to carry on until next year. You know what I mean? Like that money should be able to roll over within that line of that particular sport.
So do people donate money for sponsorship or whatever, and they say they want to get football, then you would have a line item for that football, and that donation would stay with that.
In that program. And so like this currently what I was told, this is what I was told, is that any donation that I get, they had to go into a particular line item, and I cannot use that money. That's what I was told. And so when I first started my first year, I generated over $10,000 in donation. That's because they're getting sponsorships. The people know where you line up, and they don't mind giving you money. And so I was told I could use it. So I was like, that's kind of crazy because we need stuff. I mean, if y'all know if y'all have kids that play great sports, they always going to need something. Tackle football is one of our hardest hit. I like how you got because you got to get certain things you have to get done, or helmets, recondition, stuff like that. That's not cheap. A new helmet, one helmet costs you almost $200 for one helmet. And when you got something that exit out, and we got excellent kids coming in, I got to buy them helmets. And so it's just so much that people don't understand that what goes into it. And like I said, if we're able to make the athletic portion of that budget flexible to where I can see the revenue coming in, and then also give me a better idea of what sports I need to focus on for doing tournaments. That's how we generate our money. Saturday tournaments and stuff like that, that's we generate money that way, and then that's how the moment. So it's just, I don't know if that can be changed. Just the athletic portion of it. Because when I was at high school, when I was 8 years in high school, that's how I played. Whatever we generated was in that we can spend out. And you know what I mean?
So is basketball boys and girls?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you lump it all together?
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense to have two separate line items because they're all playing at the same time. And so it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so.
Except that there is something that's out there that would be, I'd hate for us to get in trouble with or get caught with, and that is all the money being spent on boys' sports.
Yeah, and I don't do that.
And we have what looks like
Well, see, the problem.
a lot of money being spent on boys' sports.
Well, it looks that way right now.
Doesn't mean it is.
It is, but yeah, I got 4 daughters, so I'm very heavy on keeping the athletes to sports. And so that's what we actually been talking about. How can we generate our young ladies to participate in other sports as well? The female population is very, the cheer, they love cheer. So that's one of the big things. That's why I was so adamant about bringing it back and doing that competition cheer thing. I know we have had a lot of problems with it in the past few years, but the sheer amount of money and kids that participate in it is overwhelming. So we're trying to increase that, and we also trying to put out this past spring, we had 66 kids. That's like increased dramatically from the fall. So now they already, we geared up now for registration, sign up now for cheer. And what we want to do with the new budget is change because the cheer stuff was kind of messed up. The problem was our parents were paying $420-something to participate in cheer. Yeah, registration shows $40, but in reality, when they was buying uniforms, it was outrageous. I mean, $200-something for a sideline cheer, a cheer uniform, and also cheer was $200-something else for another separate uniform. A lot of that decision was not made by me. It was prior administration made those decisions. They had a lot of money in the cheer for it. Because my goal was to go back to the general uniform that we can buy for like $60. And then we could provide them with the bowl and the pom-poms for like $20. So we buy those in bulk. And if we wind up picking out like $90 is what we can serve them for, but we'll charge them $100 and they get a uniform, pom-poms, and bowl. And we'll make a little bit of money off of the $10 per person because you don't have a huge overhead for a cheer when it comes to I don't want to pay for an official. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried about that. And so we generate a little money on that. So we kind of want to change that. That's one thing that y'all see in the next for the cheer line.
So just something else, let's just keep going. There's a budgeted line item for revenue of $40,000 for the rec grant. But there's no expenditure for $40,000. Expenses.
Is that
So recreation grant
from the county? All right, so the thing about the county recreation grant, you have to put in big quotes for what you want. You kind of get in detail of how much money you would like to get. So I wanted to getting, like I said, we put in to get the lights, we done the horse field. The only field we I think that came under, was it 20-something? Like 20. Yeah, and so the other, and I just got text messages not too long ago from an individual who was at the county. Apparently, he said I got approved for the additional money to get us a new track. So that would put us right around about 40, I think about 45,000.
The total or
Total.
20 plus 45?
No, total.
Total.
Yeah, total.
Yeah.
They only give us a big.
Yeah.
So combining the two together, two prices together, we got 45.
The problem is in the expense line items, there's no expense. So all of a sudden we're behind the eight ball.
because we're still waiting for that. We're still waiting.
Trying to balance it.
Right.
You put it in the revenue, but you didn't put it in the expenses.
Because we were still waiting for our folks to come back to figure out what
Well,
we're
usually have. Wouldn't you think you're going to spend everything you get? You get 40,000, you spend 40,000. So you should put 40,000 in the budget so it shows it. Because right now, where are you going to get $40,000 to now make up for that money?
It's still in process. This is something that's being worked through right now.
But I mean, where would we get it from? I mean, it's probably going to vote on this fairly quickly.
Right.
So where is that $40,000 going to come from? Or
He's just saying that last night, and now we know that we can update it accordingly. That's why we have these work sessions to talk these things out.
yeah, like I said, I got 5 pages worth of those kind of questions
Let's go on.
where the money is not
Let's go.
shown.
Go ahead.
because that's a problem.
If you're in rec right now, you've got your rec director, go ahead.
Special events at $11,000 budgeted and nothing for this year. So you don't have any special events.
Which line item?
PNR, what's PNR?
Parks and Rec.
Special events, line 10, 044, 44, 50.
Nothing was budgeted last year or this year. It was a repeat of the previous year.
Says 11. Okay, sorry. Rec sponsors brought in $5,000 in the February report. We have $2,000, $2.5 in the COLA budget, but then we have $1,000 in the 27 budget, which is, we don't have as many sponsors as we did last year. They're not planned.
This is the budgeted revenue of $1,000, so we will always, like I said for the other one, lowball it just in case we can't get more sponsors. If we can, then we'll update the actuals throughout the year.
So there's other grants under 10, 44, 4,500. What are they? There's $20,000 worth of other grants. Do we know what they are? Do we have lists?
All the grants that I know that we're currently working on is the car. That's something we do.
The playground.
Playground.
Do we get it every year?
Actually, this episode that we can pop out every month. Once if you got the funding to do it, put the 20% down, and then they so we still running every year.
You can apply for it, but the delegation has to approve it.
Yeah.
It has to be by the 10th of each month.
For the park grant.
So I thought we were waiting on the delegation to type Tiffany Chan.
So on the recreation salaries, it appears we have 2 staff people that were part-time and now budgeted as full-time, or they are full-time.
We have full-time.
Everybody's full-time.
Yes, sir. We only it's on 4, which is we need part-time employees. That's what I told Ms. Katie that I'm working 12, 13 hours. I don't know how long I can sustain that, to be honest with you. And my other boys, they working 10, 11-hour days too, depending on what we got going on. Like, for prime example, we got multiple sports going on. We got to have somebody on the staff that got a location, and that puts you way out. So what we've been doing is flexing time. I try a lot of flexing time to not get overtime. For me, it's no flexing, so it's always work.
That's a tough one, because
It
happens in the
yeah, it happens in the evening. I still got to do what I got to do in the day.
during the day.
And then we got to prepare for everything in the evening. So we're doing it.
Because that was one of the positions last year, correct? You didn't even, you weren't even aware of it. You had
That's correct.
part-time and overtime.
Yes, and we had the issue. I can't get into detail, but it was a problem last year. They told me that they were not that we didn't have money for that. Orders had been done for overtime, and so they made the executive decision that they were going to hire a full-time staff. And I told them that with the red department, you need individuals who can work Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, at least 4 hours a night. Those are heavy nights for us. Very heavy. And weekend, of course, is heavy too, especially when we're bringing out facilities and somebody has to go lock up, go make sure, and that's what we need. So I'm working 7 days a week. This is y'all know, and Jeff can probably testify because I'm never at home. So it's a lot.
So under maintenance facilities, the budgeted item is $5,000, and the 6-month spend was $37,000. So in 6 months, we spent $37,000, but our budget right now under maintenance facilities is $553,01.
If I believe that was the mowing, correct? I think that's where it came out of the account.
We're
Trying to figure that one out.
yeah, we're trying to figure out because last year, y'all, they approved the budget for the mowing service. And so I was trying to figure out what account were they paying out of. Because I don't know what that money, what account that money was designated to. So we're trying to figure that out. And
I'm sure kind of, for the moment, because they came in and was doing the cutting.
And then we have to do it during the summertime.
Yeah, it's a short period of time.
it's a short period of time. I remember that they said like an 8-month type thing. Like during the winter time, they didn't really do anything. It's just when it started, when the grass started growing, we can't keep up with it.
It also could have been underneath 5603, because 5603, we spent $14,000 in 6 months, and we have nothing budgeted for 27.
So what's
These small tools and equipment. So we spent $14,000 on it.
And I'm pretty sure we need to do that.
That's why I said you guys come in and do all the department reports.
Yeah. So it's just like, I gotta get a breakdown of like, if I can get one, we need to break down each line item and see what exactly what we spend. Because we're not spending money really near that.
Oh, please don't think that's the case. What I'm just trying to say is what's on black and white on this page and what's on my computer from the budget on this page don't match.
Yeah, I
So
see.
something doesn't sound right. It's like those property taxes. Those property taxes, we said we had $83,000 collected, and then we collected $505,000. So
Yeah,
it matches.
I think I told you, you didn't talk about it. I said, when we was going to do this, I was like, this stuff just don't look right. I know we're not spending that much money.
When we sat down with each department head, we talked about, okay, this is what this budget is called. What would you buy to put in this budget? And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of things in the past were coded incorrectly. People didn't know where to put them, so they just wrote down a number. Thankfully, we have Ms. Gina. She's helping guide us in the right direction and helping guide the department heads as well as other staff. It's really hard to compare the way you're doing, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but unfortunately, we were put in a very unfortunate position in the past, and we're just trying to go forward. Every single department had sat down with us, and we really talked about each line.
And the good thing, like I said earlier, is that I'm learning, you know what I'm saying? And I know what to do moving forward. I mean, that's all you got. You can't get worried about the past.
They weren't given to
We just wasn't getting
Yeah, you were kept out of it for so long, you didn't even know what was in it.
And so, like, I tell the like, we had $82,000.
Yeah.
What was it?
Maintenance rounds.
I lost it. I'm like, that's insane. So
You could have used that through the year.
well, if I didn't know anything about it, but that's still like, that's the same kind of money. So, like, let's be realistic, cut grass, and it's a lot of money.
How small we are.
Yeah, you know, like, for this size. So I was like, you know, when I think about being ground, I think about, cutting grass and keeping parking lots and stuff like that. But that's insane. That's insane amount of money. And so I was like, and I was like, that's why I was like, something was not right. I had always said when I first day one, I came in, I said, something's very, very wrong about this budget. It was very great, and it was too much, it was just like, too much flavor. And I don't like the flavor, because I like to know what I got. I'm like treat me like it's a bank account. I want to know what I got in there, what I can spend, and I know if I might run out, I'm going to go try to fix it, or put money into it, or I'm just not going to use it. So it just, yeah. I don't know. I'm just trying to be cool. Yeah.
So there's some items that have to do with salary and stuff, so can I take those separately? Because
Can you email those to myself, the administrator? Yeah, can you email them to us?
like in use that way.
Yes, please
Pension. Appreciate it. Did we got a brownfields grant for $69,000, right? But we haven't spent it.
We spent some of it.
We have spent some. Did we budget to spend the rest of it?
Which line am I on?
The revenue is 10,850, 40,06, but I can't find the expense portion that says where it would be under expense.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we did not spend any this calendar year, correct?
I believe that's wrong because they did do a couple phases. We had this grant since 2022, and they never put a line item. I have gone through 3 different resets with the Brownfield people. This is the 3rd time starting from scratch with them. So we have hit the ground running already, the mayor, myself, and Adam went to a Brownfield conference last week, I think it was. We're trying to be very proactive about using that money, but I don't think there's ever a line item in the expense side of our budget, and I appreciate you catching that because I didn't even catch that. So thank you.
But maybe because the brownfields is something that we're trying to do more of, maybe if we had an expense line item so that we could put any costs in there, then we could identify those, right? So that at least have something in there. And if we have to have a budget in there later on, fine, but at least we put it somewhere and know which department it goes to.
And if you're interested in knowing how much money we spent from that grant, when Ms. Gina gets back, she's back on the 11th, I can get her to pull that report and send it to you.
I'm good with that. I just want to know that we make sure that we're following that to see what happens.
Yes, sir.
So the fund balance is going down. The water collection fee. 6 months we collected water connection fee. Is that when new houses are built?
Yes.
And there's connected. So within 6 months we collected $18,000, and our budget is $18,000 for next year. So that's half. So that's kind of low. But again, I don't know what the Kramer Roper is. Kramer Roper.
Sewer.
So they didn't lay all that for how long?
So in 6 months we collected $28,000, and in the budget we have budgeted amount of revenue $16,000. So it seems very low for me.
20 years, 25 years.
Honestly, I wish that would be done to pay it off. We have that treatment
Wait,
plan
it's revenue.
for years and
This is on the revenue.
the revenue and then the expenditure. Yeah, I'm just saying we should have paid it off and get our, we would have been able to use that money. But I think we're going there.
So the IT funds are interesting. In IT, we budgeted, let's say in admin, we
Oh, we
budgeted.
agree. Whatever you say about IT, we agree. We've been working on that for the last 2 weeks. It's ridiculous.
Because then you just gave me another page that says that we have in every public funds and whatever, an additional IT expense.
That is something that we noticed immediately, and Ms. Gina and myself and the mayor have dove head first. We are trying to set up a meeting with our IT company and get to the bottom of what are we paying for, because we also are
Blown away by the amount that we're paying. It's a lot of money.
It's a ton of money.
It is.
All right, so the
I'm trying to make sense of it.
yeah, I appreciate that. It does bring it back. So there are, in the summary, in the payroll summaries, just an overall thing, there are items that don't have budgeted. So are those people going to exist or not? not, for example, the communications and business license is not budgeted.
Right.
So,
That was my title before, and when we asked Green City to take it off, they said that they wanted to keep it for a filler
Down the road.
Yeah, down the road, if we wanted to add another position, we could change that title, but still keep it on budget. That's why.
it's not budgeted, there's no money.
Correct, that employee doesn't exist.
There's like 5 people on the total budget.
Yep.
They're just zeroed out.
Or zero now.
When we first started the budget, we had anticipated adding additional staff to our crew, but it didn't make sense the more we looked at the budget and the more we started to crunch numbers.
Is AP full-time or part-time?
Part-time.
Okay. So on that, it says full-time, and then over here it says part-time. So
I believe
two different places.
that's a coding thing for Green City. I also asked that question, and they said that it's for coding. So the FT, PT, whatever they have, it's an Excel thing.
So shouldn't we put the salary in part-time, not in full-time? Because there is a line on it.
We agree with you. We definitely agree with you, and that's something that we're working on fixing.
But we should add that. So that's in your 5003. And then clerk of court is partially in administration. How does that happen?
She's paid out of 2 places.
Right, because it makes, so one's out of fund balance and one's out of the police fund somehow. Why wouldn't the clerk of court be all under the police department?
That's for Sarah Howard.
Yes.
And so she's paid partially from admin and partially from, I believe it's police, right?
Yeah, police.
Because Sarah does some administrative tasks, but also is part of the police department.
She does things like answer FOIA requests for Blue 6 or training requests for the police department. Her clerk of court duties are for both parties, the police department and the.
And then other things like property tax.
Okay. I'm just asking, I'll ask a question to you guys. Communications you talked about, business license, expenses. Why did we separate business license expenses out?
That was something that I've advocated for since I did business licenses for the past 3 years. I never understood why there was not an expense line for business licenses because I would pay for paper, envelopes, postage, there's training. I don't think that was added into the business license expense before, but there's a lot that goes into business licenses, renewals. Renewals are expensive. We sent out 500 of them this year. That's in city and out of city. So I thought that it was necessary to track that because that was something that was never tracked before.
But you consciously made a decision to take all office expenses out of all the rest of the departments and put it under one.
That
Except for this
was
one.
a collective decision between
For
the
all
department heads and the mayor.
Because most of our stuff gets delivered to City Hall, it just makes sense for us all to be doing the ordering and the account and everything all in one. We're sharing supplies sometimes. Like I'm going to buy a 6-pack of cleaner. I'm not going to keep the 6-pack.
It makes perfect sense. So why take one line item and separate it out? Business expense or business licenses.
Because
That part doesn't-
business licenses are only for admin. That's just an admin thing.
Right. And I'm sure there's paper used inside the city hall that's just admin expenses. And it's probably lumped into the same 10,400, 5610.
Yes, sir.
So, IT, opposed. There's a janitorial fee in administration for $8,000. We've spent $125 for 6 months. Why would we have an expense of $8,000?
You talking about for the 27 budget? We would like to get our windows washed. Better be honest with you.
They haven't been washed the entire
$8,000.
time.
Over a year. There's additional things. Maybe we can have somebody come in clean once a month.
Cheaper than $8,000 lights.
But they're all paid. So the transfer of $60,000, is that done? Does that finish it? Does a $60,000 transfer to the utility fund, does that finish everything in the utility fund? Expenses, or is there more left?
I don't know the answer to that. I believe that was discussed before I got back from maternity leave. Which one?
$60,000 underneath the transfer to UF.
Just payback.
It's paid back.
Yeah.
But that loan is there, but the question is $60,000 finish it? Because I think that the amount that we're supposed to be paying this fiscal year is like 92. So is 60 finish it or not?
I'll have to look at that.
Chief.
Sir.
So the salaries do not match on the expenses versus the salary figure. Do we know? I don't expect you to understand or to answer that really, but they don't match, so we need to figure out what the problem is and make them match.
Okay.
The maintenance of equipment, but the leases, are the SUVs going to be leased? The two new SUVs?
Yes,
Or are they
sir.
going to be bought?
They'll be leased.
So it's not really capital, right? Leases are not capital funds, correct?
Where would you want them to be?
Underneath the lease agreements, under 10,500, 54,3, whatever it belongs, under lease. And then wouldn't the $30,000 of the capital outlay for upfitting, does upfitting mean you're putting the lights and stuff on the vehicles?
Yes.
What's up?
Upfitting these lights, cage, sirens.
So that's a capital, that's a spent cost, you never get it back.
Right.
So it should go to capital outlay. It's $30,000.
Where it is?
Okay. And that's the $30,000 from that.
Yes.
Is it in capital?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. Upfitting patrol vehicles 2, unit price 15, total 30.
Okay. I'll leave that. So then when we do the vehicles aren't $36,000 for two for 1 year. Wouldn't that be 72?
It should be 18 for unit price 2 for total 36.
So it's not. It's 18.
Yeah. That was like a nice little break for you to take care of that one tomorrow.
So you get two people, Chief, that are budgeted in this one. You're going to end up with two new people. One that's a vacancy, one that's new.
The current vacant position right now,
No.
and then an additional officer for 27.
And the third officer is not, that's just a placeholder.
Correct. We also hopefully have Asa coming back right
Yes, ma'am.
on July 1st.
Yeah, he's in the budget. We keep his money in there. Right. So then, there's some things about the overall salaries. This is not individual. So the overall salaries in public works don't add up because we have 154,400 in water and sewer. Sorry, I'm keeping you up, but if everybody would have brought some of this, you could have gone through this too. Right? But and then you add the 60,000 for public works, it doesn't add up to the sum.
Which 2 line items are you at?
I took the salaries for water and salaries for sewer, plus the salary in public works, because there's 3 different.
And then do you have a line item
Works, it's 10,605,001, but it does not say number under sewer. They're different, right? It's a different account. There it is, it's 10,670,5,001 and 575,5,301. So we have two trench boxes underneath Public Works, one for water and one for sewer, right?
Actually, I think we have.
I'm sorry. Why is the county on the audit in water and sewer?
Which one?
2670, 5102. 675, 5102, 25,000 apiece.
Accounting and auditing, and then also testing and analysis. I believe that is our water testing.
Testing, yeah, makes sense, that's separate, but accounting and auditing.
Isn't that Harris also accounting? I believe, yes. Our system that generates the water.
Could you read me that line item again? I'll write it again.
2670, 5102, and 675, 5102. One sewer, one water. So maintenance of vehicles, in the budget we have $30,000 between the two, and we've only spent $2,000 for 6 months.
Correct.
Our previous director did not spend any of his budget. When Adam came here, he can speak for himself, but he saw that there was a need for it, so that's the number that he thought was fair to fix some of those stuff that he said.
And then the contract labor for 2027, we have $40,000 in contract labor. Who do we contract for the sewer?
That would have their water under contract labor.
No, this is going forward.
Oh, that was a cushion.
Who?
It was a cushion. Adam stated that there are sometimes jobs that are too big for his small but mighty staff. So he wanted to make sure that there was enough money budgeted to get help if he needed it for a project.
Just in case, if you don't ever know what's going to happen.
That's smart.
If you look at the 5612 too, for the Higgins Regional, there's a note on there too that says council to find out what this is for. That's more of a note for myself. I'm currently trying to find out why exactly we're paying $25,000. I've had a couple different answers on why we're paying $25,000. But if you look at our agreement, when we joined Higgins Regional, we were on the hook for 8%. And if you combine all of the municipalities, all of the different pieces of Higgins Regional, you get $103,000 a year, which is our yearly cost. $25,000 is not 8% of $103,000. So I'm trying to get some sort of a contract still from them that states why we are paying $25,000. We're going to budget for it, but I'm holding on to it until I get that contract that states why we're paying that.
Gotcha.
Is that 8% before, after we school that?
It was supposed to be before, but we have not re-signed anything saying that our percentage should go up. So I'm holding on to it until I get something. I just don't feel comfortable.
8% was arrived at.
Yeah. It was 2022 or 3. It was before we get sold out. I just don't feel comfortable paying for something I don't have a contract for. That says why we're paying it.
So I feel like I'll be my homeowners and
Show me what I'm paying for.
So then the 150th anniversary for the end of the year, right? That's when we're planning for that, so we hired the 77,000.
And it can go back to the little notes thing that I provided. Yeah.
We definitely don't plan to spend all of that, but we wanted to make sure that the last event of the 150th year was
A big event. It's a big event.
a nice send-off.
To close out the year.
And then in this budget, we're agreeing to go and install the e-charger. How much do we have, a number of how many chargers that will be?
2. We're doing 2 for now. And then when the new city hall is completed, there are hopeful future plans to install an additional 2 there. But we're going to start with just 2 and start on the park.
What's the maintenance costs?
Once it's installed, it's included. It's part of the installation package. Maintenance.
Okay.
Now I can provide that to you guys, the contract. And if you notice at the bottom of that one page there, we have a very healthy fund balance for hospitality. So pulling a little bit from that for 150th is a small amount.
We're hopeful to get sponsorships for the 150th as well. So the money that's pulled, we're hoping that with the sponsorships we can put it back.
I have other things to do more.
Payroll-wise,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably need to.
can you send those to me, and then we'll look through and get back to you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 things that I can get back to you on tomorrow. Let's see, anybody else have any questions on the budget? Before I move on.
I will say that on the profit and loss that comes from Greenfield, the budget numbers don't match your numbers in the budget on the new budget from 2025-26. It doesn't match.
Which line? The
Just the budget, full year budget. So if you look at the full year budget per line item, it don't match. And then if you go to another one, it doesn't match. These numbers,
We know the
it's very simple to do accounting. Somebody needs to tell them that we need to get better results from that because we do not need to have multiple budgets. They're not good.
We completely agree. Next up on the agenda, water department update. You flip to the, it's in the little single page here. Says it's Connect Day on the top. There were a couple of reasons for this. We would like to create a no shut-off list for medical and essential businesses. This would include us needing to make an amendment or a clause in the water ordinance to be able to do a no shut-off list. Other water departments do this, medical facilities, urgent cares, dentists, those kind of things, where they have very expensive equipment that should not be without water for certain periods of time. And then also an internal policy change on disconnects. Currently, right now, they're all done on a single day. Right now, it is very taxing to do them all over a single day. And we are suggesting to split it over 2 days to improve accuracy and cut down on workload for those members that are doing the cutoffs, as well as Dana in the water department.
Is, with the shut-offs with the meters, is there any way we could tag the meters from here on?
Where are we right now? That's a question.
Adam, what's on the water meter right now?
Is there numbers on the actual meter to identify the meter to the actual address?
Yes, that's serial number.
There is serial numbers on there?
Yes.
All right, when y'all do cutoffs, do y'all have that number on your paperwork so you know which meter you're digging?
We do.
All right, good job.
So going forward, all disconnects will be done over a 2-day period of time.
and it is very rare that medical facilities or businesses in general don't pay their water bill, but it does happen. We just want to make sure that they're covered.
Any questions on those water department items? Everybody good? Next up is speed bumps on Alta Vista. I know this is something that we discussed in the work session, I want to say in January. To install the speed bumps, we will need to have a study done over a period of time. I sat with our deputy administrator today and we discussed when that study should be done. It sounds like Tractor Supply is currently, and I think that's the question, is that adding that Tractor Supply there on the corner of Summit and 93 is going to increase traffic in the Alta Vista neighborhood. And so our thought was that we should wait and do the study in September when Tractor Supply is actually open and traffic has increased in the area, instead of doing it now when it's still somewhat quiet, and wait until September when it actually picks up to see if speed bumps are needed in that area.
Or at least it would be the temporary treatment until we can put in.
Adam, for the speed bumps, I know you can kind of discuss them with us. What was your thought on it in Alta Vista?
Or you want to put down the ones that you move?
Yes, the road, that anchor, well, they're actually anchored in this permanent. And their roads are the plow, the one that somebody hits it hard, not knowing there, we call it a lot of damages in it. If the road needs it, then absolutely. If we decide to do it, we need to give probably a month and a half notice that we're going to be putting the speed bump. And then we'll need to put up signs showing that there's a speed bump at every location.
For the light ones or the narrow ones?
Altogether, these are the ones I was looking at, and the one I'm new with, they're about 7.5 foot long. But
The other direction, in the traffic one, is it 3 feet wide or is it a foot and a half wide? Like if you've been to Clemson has these ones that are wider, it's more of a gradual, it still does the same thing. But then there's the other ones that the chief likes to talk about, the loop ones that are more compact and high.
these are about 12 inches wide.
It's too small.
Yeah.
Everybody good on that? Wait until September, Tractor Supply again. Do the study. Yep. I know we had some constituents that were asking for an update on that, so if you have anybody in your ward that's asking, September, let them know. Okay, that's very nice. Next item up was discussion and possible action to promote budget transparency by establishing a council-approved amount that requires individual line items. John, I kind of mentioned this to you a little bit yesterday. It goes back to that pub sub dues and fees printout that we have here, where for so long everything was either put into a miscellaneous line item, and then once miscellaneous was kind of identified that we shouldn't put so much in there, then pub sub dues and fees was used as a secondary miscellaneous. And so the deputy administrator and I have gone through every single item that is in pub sub dues and fees to find out what is actually in there. And one of our thoughts was to establish individual line items based on a dollar amount to call them out what they are. So instead of just having $5,000 in pub sub dues and fees, if an individual line item reached $500, it would be its own line item, because it just makes sense. So we looked at $500. It's up to you guys if you think it should be more or less. What would you want to see in the budget? Called out as individual items. I mean, it could be an element, $75, It's kind of, I mean, we talked about 500, but 1,000 may also work really well. We just wanted to make sure that we were promoting transparency in what that fund was used for, and that things weren't just thrown in it.
Or don't use it, or they use it for like office.
They're using it for everything. It's just, they're all like Adobe, Facebook, Apple.
The mayor would have a better understanding of that. She's been ordering them since I've been gone. So she would have a better understanding of how much we spent on office
What is
supplies.
your average
Monthly for office supplies.
supplies? Is it over 500?
It's around 500. It depends on if you need printer supplies. Some
All
are
the
expensive.
don't know where anything.
Yeah.
Without being in every budget. So this year, once you get rid of this, this Harris computer systems, because every one of these has 3888 of Harris computer systems. I don't know what that is, but
Harris, was that not, that was the,
That's why you use the software.
the software that they upgraded?
so it's,
We only use that for the markets.
it's in the rec department,
That-
public subs.
yes,
It's
sir.
in, I mean, it's in everybody.
Yeah, we noticed that, and that was something that we wanted to look at, consolidating into to water, sewer, and admin where it belongs.
Does that mean we pay these people from every one of these?
Each of the different funds.
When the past administration purchased the software, signed a contract, that's how they distributed it. And unfortunately, we were given the breakdown of pub subsidies and fees after we already sent out public notice. So if we switch things around and put it all in the budget that it belongs, it would skew the numbers. So we didn't want to do that, and so we talked to you guys about that.
Used to go to the IT, water, and sewer is split up, right? And they get 50/50 everything. So whatever that is, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot, and we actually have a meeting on the books to talk about that for,
Yeah, we're looking at contracts while we're doing the budget and finding out what we're spending money for, and there are some days we just look at each other and go, because it's ridiculous. It is.
I think you got rid of those probably
You think?
well over $1,000.
So we're thinking $1,000 as its own line item would be fair. Next up, update on Lakewood Heights tennis court repairs. Coach.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just gonna get you a seat up.
I had 3 contractors come out. Still haven't received any quotes. They said it's very busy right now. So I talked to Ashton today. He gave me 2 more contacts. I'm gonna call tomorrow, this week, and print shop. Yeah, I'm gonna call those asphalt companies. I talked to Mr. Dean Ray. I don't know if some of y'all may know him. He's local. I tried to build a local people as much as possible. He didn't need to just he told me that he could reseal it, but the cracks are so bad because they haven't been touched in 45 years that it's best to go ahead and just rip it out and put new asphalt in. And so my plan was if we was able to do that we can put away one side of the tennis court / pickleball side and the other side of the basketball court. That Lakewood is, I've been noticing Lakewood is getting younger now, family-wise, and so I want to make that a hub for them to be able to go to and to be able to participate in things like that. So,
Do we have any of that paint left over from where they did Hills, pickleball court in this room?
yeah, that paint is still there, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it's any good. That thing been sitting out there since I started. I'm going to start pouring a lot of paint. Yeah, so that paint started to shine. Only reason we can't move this up here. I want to get rid of it, but it's so heavy I can't even move it. But that's the plan right now. So according to Mr. Brady, he said it's like putting lipstick on the pig if you want to do it. And I was like, we don't want to do that. Talk to Katie, she was like, just go ahead and try to be close to see how much it costs to get the pigs. It could range at $20,000, he said, or it could be a little bit more, depending on what I would have to get in there and do. So that was all that one of my motives that 40 days when I first started.
Yeah, it's been,
Listen,
I wonder how they did the equipment in there to rebuild it to be able to put.
you have to take that case going. Just like how you use baseball field with the lights up.
That Kings will do.
King was not the small projects. I already asked him. I asked him, because that's what we do, talking about when we do the track. And so we talked about that, and I asked King about if they did small projects like before that, try to get their name, somebody like utilize their name, put their name on there as donation or sponsorship, whatever. They don't do small projects, he said, but they do give towards a small project. So they come in to do their Memorial Day cookout for the employees on the 26th of May. So I'm going to try to talk to the CEO when he comes in to see if he can give us the asphalt. We can have somebody go out and do it, and at least cut us a good price and for us.
You want to get your list of contractors?
I'll give you a list, I'll give you a script. That's what you do, right?
I will say this, many of my clients are putting in some sports that you can also use as football. And they've had sort of the same problem that Coach is talking about. And they'll put it out for bid. And then people either will respond with questions and then not show up for the bid conference. They won't submit plans. I mean, it is so competitive right now. I would suggest that, you may have already done this, is to check around with some of the other municipalities that put in pickleball, because Clemson put in pickleball courts and they were all the wrong side because the dimensions had changed. And so they had to redo all of the contract did. So that's something to watch out for too when you're doing pickleball court. It's just one of those weird things. Right?
And I also think Clemson University gave them a good portion of that money for the pickleball courts. Because I want the same thing. That's it. So far, as soon as I get folks in, I've been playing phone tag with guys all day long. They're busy right now.
That time of year.
Yep.
And then the last one on the agenda was updates on Garland Park Courtyard Flower Bed. So this is, I think most of you have seen the updates on the city page and my personal social media as well. The Garland Park Courtyard Flower Bed is going to go in 4 stages or phases. The first phase we already completed, which was cleanup and weeding of the entire flower bed. The second is going to be the fix of the drainage issue, and you should see that all in your packet that has a staple on it, the front one. We reached out to 3 companies. This was the only one that really provided a full breakdown of what they were intending to do in the area. So they were talking about excavation and pressure washing. The area would be dug up under temporarily relocated, foundation pressure wash to remove soil and debris, waterproofing and thermal drain put in, pipe and stone foundation drainage, and then backfill. Now I know that we had talked about keeping the area open for down the road. So this is just the first full kind of quote, and we're looking at what, 7,600 for this project. So this is going to be outsourced. It's not going to be done by our public works. It's a larger project, and they're already kind of stretched in as it is. So taking them away from their daily duties already would tie them up for a bit to do this. 7,600.
It would be a 3 to 4 day job.
I'll come back to this, but then I have some questions. But Then the phase 3 would be replanting of the gardens. We already have some community members that have stepped up to offer flowers and filler and everything for that area, as well as a sponsorship from Clearwater, I believe, still for the dirt and mulch to replant that. And then there's talk of a possible phase 4 down the road, possibly a mural, waterfall feature or something down there to really make that area just pop. It's the center of the city, really. And a lot of people sit down there and have their lunch. They walk through there with their pets, going to various events in the city. So we wanted to make it a really nice central area that people can hang out in the center of the city. Any questions on the water remediation issue? And thankfully, he has not had any water going into the building recently, but we all started running traffic. So yeah, kind of. But we know it's coming at some point, so we need to take care of it while we have a chance.
First heavy rain.
First heavy rain, it will be completely flooded in his waiting area again.
So when we do the pull that from the dirt, we can make sure we get, if not Hackett's Foundation or Home Logan's Foundation, to start the city. Just so
I would hate to do all of that.
but if he has to redo it again, then he will have access
Yeah.
to get that to them.
And then we were talking with them, I think, today, right? And they were looking for to do the locate for the water and everything. I know you and I had talked about it when we were down there in the courtyard.
Just curious about those powers.
I think there's something that comes
know there's-
underneath the middle of it.
There's one that runs from the flagpole to the light, to the box. And then fill it in two, but the conduit in on the walls or overhead lights.
The Edison light.
The Edison light. Just don't know what's in there. We got rid of it.
Yeah. We were talking with them yesterday about the locate for everything.
They've already put it in the locate, just to.
USIC is going to do it.
Yep.
Right?
It's the only way to get
No, we're definitely hear about it.
And
We're
we're
right here at City Hall.
that they're located is, okay. So y'all know it.
He's right here and here.
Oh, yeah, you've got so much feet on either side.
The temperances are of that. Now, if, for example, if they miss, and it is their fault. But if they're within their locate field, then it's our fault.
Yeah, and I'll go back to that. Kind of look at it. I had one last thing. I just I missed it because we were going through the budget. The legal review and codification of ordinances is on the second page of your little three-page packet. A lot of our ordinances are kind of I hate to say the word, but kind of a mismatch of many years of additions to them and things that are antiquated at this point, pending various Supreme Court rulings and all kinds of things. We need a full review of our ordinances that are on the books to make sure that they are complete and accurate, organized, accessible. I can't tell you how many times somebody says, do we have an ordinance for that? It should be so easy for anyone in the city to be able to search, especially council members, myself, anyone, to be able to search through that. Right now, it's rough. It's there, but it's rough. So we are looking at, there's a couple different options. Mary, I know you had spoke to Katie today, I believe, about possibly you doing them, a full review.
We need to speak so they can hear what I'm telling Katie.
Yeah.
Almost all of the ordinances, unless you have a really county agreement or somebody that has a bunch of different attorneys that work in it. They're based on a model that came out in I think it was 1976, or 73, the code, the state code changed, and then somebody sold the model to everybody. Because I can look at the ordinance in one city and it'll be almost exactly the same. The order of, you have 56 chapters, and they're in pretty much the same order as everybody in the city. So what I recommend to all my clients that are using the older model as, or many amendments back as the underlying thing, is to definitely look at every chapter and work your way through it. Y'all have 56, and you might want to do 2 chapters at once. The problem is if you do a big fat book, all your counsel cannot read all your ordinances, and it would take you forever to go through it. Because you get an outside group to do it, they can do some sort of standard model, which kind of puts you back in the same place you're already in with the standard model. You want ordinances that serve your city. The other issues is I was telling people that ordinances are alive, and you should, if you did, what I've been telling people is depending on the size of the chapters you have, either do a chapter a month, or in your case, if you want to get it done in 2 weeks, you want to do a chapter. Some of your chapters are already looked at, like zoning. I mean, you've already got your application to do that. That's a big chunk. Some of them are kind of weird and may not even be applicable anymore because there's one of your chapters is on the fire department and you don't have a city fire department anymore. So that's an easy one. But, I mean, I definitely think I wouldn't spend money on it because you're going to spend so much council time looking at anything that anybody does, you might as well just do it and have a real organized fashion of working through it and look at each of those. In terms of comparing to state law, I mean, I always look at 3 basic things. What is your existing ordinance? What does state law say? And then what's the South Carolina Attorney General have they done? Because I can be surprised, but almost everything that you see in your ordinances has probably been done before, or been looked at before, or has been challenged before. So you can find out a lot of information like that. And that's what I would suggest to you. Then you can do it a couple different ways. You can start at the beginning and work your way through. And since I think that it should be a living document, I would say if you need 2 years, start back and go through it again. Just keep it. And that's a good way to keep it updated. Or you can pick out, also look at the 56 chapters and say, what are the top 10 pressing ones? Let's start there, and then, because some of them are antiquated, but maybe they aren't as for example, as council members, you have to vote on every question that comes before you are not confused. Some cities are going to where they allow abstentions. Some cities don't like that because an abstention can hold up something without looking like you're holding it up. So that would be a good place for council to be guidance. But you could spend a lot of money getting code like that, just like some cities have their comprehensive plan written by free outside group, and I think that's not a waste of money because you get some people in the way to write it for you. They don't even know what it looks like.
Would that be a good opportunity to be able to pull a lead do away with some ordinances that are
Absolutely.
far out and should be either go or replaced or something?
And you can give yourself some more flexibility with respect, because new things are constantly coming up that you all have to deal with. So you can give yourself some areas like, for example, you don't have a town administrator right now, but your ordinance has got it in there, so you can make that permissive so that council can have a little more leeway in terms of what positions they want to appoint. But I just saw the fire department, there's a cemetery one, and I know that, or you don't cut grass at the cemetery, but you don't own the cemetery.
We own one of the
Do you
three.
own the cemetery?
One of the three.
We own one of the
Yeah.
That's an area that, you probably want to update the law and look at that. I have one client that has 6 cemeteries, and they are never in the red. That's a real, I don't want to say it's a money game, because you don't want people in the community to die. But, people are going to die. You know what I mean? That's an opportunity for seen those old code books so many times that I can look at an ordinance and I can tell whether they based it on that, I think, in the 1970s, or some of them are in the 50s. It's really lazy over now.
So if we had you do it, you would just need some direction from us as to where to start.
I would say, you may say, let's just make it easy to start with the first, the first two, or, you don't want to have two really long sessions, so, we might need to jump around a little bit and just work our way to the end. That would be an easy way to do it, but if there were some things that you really want to, one thing that I think needs to go in more of your annexation ordinances is a list of factors for council to consider when considering an annexation. And that's something that's kind of hit or miss in terms of, I've seen some good ones and I've seen some ones that were like, is there infrastructure? Well, that's a little broad, for determining whether a 5-year development is good or not. But that's one that you want to look at. You want to kind of look at what's going on out there. One, I would definitely say, and I've talked to the planning about data centers, and every time I listen to the news, the effect that they have on the power grid, as well as water usage, as well as heat, putting out heat into the atmosphere, that's going to concern me. So that's something to look at. You can't outlaw legal uses.
I think you and I talked about that.
Yeah, outlaw legal use, but you might regulate where it goes and how big it is and different things like that. And make certain that if you're going to allow that use, that it doesn't put undue pressure on your utility system. So anyway, that's just what I was thinking. And you already paid me, so
Right.
That's kind of an advantage. And it's something that I think is important for you to do.
I do too. Are y'all good? I mean, I don't think we have to vote on it, but are you in agreement that we move forward with allowing Mary to start this process? I think it's something that we should start yesterday, honestly.
Maybe council could come up with what they, if you're really an insomniac and want to look at the code tonight or whatever, you can come up with what is really important to work on. And maybe we could cover that in the next work session. And by that time, I can go and sort of set up a temporary schedule in terms of, kind of grouping. I think if the numbers, if you take out the zone thing, it's about 2 years. Which is that.
Okay. So for the June work session, we'll put together a list of where we want you to start. Is that good?
Or even if you just do a top 10 list.
All right. I think that's it. I think we made it through everything. Sorry, guys, we have a long agenda. We're adjourned. That's all I got.
Here's a quick. Maybe I missed it.
Okay.
Sally